Let's talk about Saudi. I mean, obviously, it's all over the news in terms of the media love it because it's the next existential threat to the Premier League. They're spending X amount of money, and of course, Saudi Arabian investment into all sports, whether it's live golf or whether it's the boxing world now. But first and foremost, it started with the Saudi Pro League and their ascension that might have been provoked by the Qataris doing the World Cup, whatever, right? Yeah. They've got more money than God, right? And they're going to utilize it, it would seem. You went there. Why did you think it was an opportunity for you?
Well, it was an opportunity for me because it was an opportunity. That's the simplicity of it. You know, it was a case I went over there as a consultant, in all honesty, and then just realised this club needed a manager, so I put myself down for it, you know, and got it. So,
why has it come to an end, by the way, for you?
The sporting director had other plans. You know, he wanted to bring someone else in, and even that in itself. I mean, I was over there, and you know, my record over there is without signing statistically, it was brilliant.
Yeah, I can see it's a 75% win record.
Yeah. It was genuinely very good. But
you've got an insight into Saudi. I mean, it's the thing that everyone's fascinated about. I'm not particularly fascinated about it. I think there's just another country wanting to develop a football league, and good luck to them. As long as they don't fuck it up for everybody else and break the ecosystem and turn everyone else into economic ruin because they don't care about the consequences of it, I think chapeau, fill your boots.
But do you not think the Premier League done that though?
I think the Premier League came out of the necessity to give English football a kick up the backside because prior to that, the economic landscape of football was in the toilets.
Yeah,
you know, we go through the 70s, we go through the 80s, and football is economically broke. Clubs are going bust. Attendances are down.
Do you not think Saudi are doing what the Premier League done though?
Well, the only reason the Premier League, and yes and no, right? But the only reason the Premier League were allowed to do what they did, because the de facto governance of English football, the FA, didn't do what it should have done, and the Football League were too stupid to take what was on offer, which was a significant proportion of the deal that the Premier League said to them, well, listen, we'll give you, I think it was 25 or 30%. We'll give you 25, 30% of the revenues that we get. And the Football League went, no, we're our own fucking boat. Right? Or how did that work out?
Mm-hmm.
Now go to your question with Saudi. There is no doubt in my mind, with all due respect to the Saudi Arabians that are perfectly entitled to build their football league and do what they want with it. There is an element of using sport as an image enhancer and a creative opportunity for attracting commercial attention to a country that would like to be an industrial hub, that would like to not just rely on what goes beneath the surface of the oil that flows through their community. They'd like to have other opportunities. So they don't have the same footballing motivations as the legacy football clubs that have happened in Europe. Right. So I think there is a similarity between the Premier League setting off into the sunset, but that's more to do with incompetence of other people that didn't jump on that boat and didn't see the opportunity than it is to do with potentially a nation state shaking up the infrastructure of football and changing the economic landscape and creating a problem that necessarily isn't for the betterment of football.
Yeah, I mean, I do get you, and I mean, you're far more clever than me in terms of, you know, the sporting backgrounds of the Premier League, the Football League. But with what the Saudi government are doing, are they not trying to do what maybe the EFL should have done years ago? They obviously want the football to be better, and that's the simplicity of it.
And that's fine. And do you know what? Chapeau. Absolutely. And I don't think they should have any problems with investing significant amounts of money to give their leagues a chance. If they want to play at the table with the legacy football clubs, because whichever football club in Saudi Arabia is playing in a game, no one's particularly interested right now. And I'm going to ask you about this because you've got the insight that people will be fascinated to understand because you've been there. If they want to be at the table with Liverpool, Manchester United, Barcelona, Arsenal, Juventus, Real Madrid, then they should have to be governed by the same rules.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then if they can get their turnovers up to £500 or £600 million a year without artificially creating deals that enable them to do that, then they can have £300 or £400 million wage bills. Because my argument would be, none of the players that have gone over there, with due respect, would have gone over there if there wasn't a big bag of money on offer. Yeah. And surely Saudi Arabia wants to be a little bit more than just a big bag of money. They want to be somewhere that you want to go, rather than you go there because you can get paid and then you can piss off back to where you came from. Do you see some of the criticism that's been levied? Let's say one of your old teammates, Stephen Gerrard. What do you make to that? Can you see the criticism of Steven Gerrard and find any justification in it? Because it looks to me like the only reason Steven Gerrard's gone to Saudi Arabia is not because he wants to be a serious Premier League football manager or a serious manager, it's because he's going to get paid a fucking big bag of money.
Of course, and I said before, look, money talks, and anyone can address it or, wash over it however they want to. I can't speak for Steven. Obviously I can't do, but he's obviously I think he's gone over there because it's the opportunity again. Now, I spoke before.
Opportunity of what?
To get back in. Do you think it's a legitimate gateway for you're saying to me it's going to take 4 or 5, it's going to take years for this league to be significant, right? We've just said this, right? Mm-hmm. So was he going to stay there for 5 years until the league's significant, so then someone's going to come back and say, well, that was a significant league, it's a gateway? Do you really believe that Steven Gerrard going over, or any English manager that's trying to rebuild their career, goes to Saudi and it can be seriously considered as a gateway back into the top end of English football? Now that we're obviously talking about it, it's obviously tough, and we know that. We know how people's perception of Saudi is. But look, that might change. That might change within a year, 2 years. So you don't know what's around the corner. Potentially, yes, I think it could be a bit of a ruiner. But also potentially it could be a good thing if he goes over there and
smashes it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you think, but wow, because there's some. Obviously, we talk about good players, but some of the managers who potentially could go over there as well.
Because I'm just trying to put myself in. It's been a while now since I've been an owner, but I still think like an owner, even though I've written an article criticising Todd Bowley, right, about his ownership of Chelsea, and it flies in the face of me wanting to criticise another owner. But I look at it and go, I don't look at Saudi and go, well, if a guy's been over there, I know what he's going to do. He's going to get me out of the Championship.
Yeah. No, I get that and I see that, but when you talk about the long-term plan, and I know being a manager is probably far from anyone's fault, having the longevity to talk about what's going to happen in the future, but you've got to go over there and you've got to have the attitude of, first and foremost, I want to do well. So I don't think he's gone over there and gone, you know what, I'll do this to get back in the Premier League. I think he's gone over there, and I think for a player or a manager, it's for the now. I don't think they think about the future. I think they want to go over there, and we spoke before about how focused you are. You've got to go there and you've got to do well, and that's the simplicity of
because let's be fair. If he goes over there and makes a Horlicks of it over there, he's done, isn't he?
But there's maybe an argument to saying, because obviously his record at Aston Villa, people might say, we wouldn't touch him anyway. So maybe if he goes over there and he feels as though he's got to reinvent himself to be the manager that he was maybe at Rangers, then. Do
you think he'll make a top manager?
Genuinely, I've spoke to Steven lots and lots of times, and he is. He's an unbelievable player. We know that.
Absolutely.
But he speaks unbelievably well on the game as well. Will he be a top manager? Yes, I think he possibly will be. I like Steven. I like him as a person. I like him as a manager. Okay, he wasn't brilliant at Aston Villa, and he will tell you that himself. But this is why it's important for Steven to go over there and do well.
It's also important why you take jobs at the right time. The reasons why I thought Steven, for what my opinion is worth, wasn't right for Aston Villa is because I think he needed to learn more, and I think the challenges at Villa were more difficult than he anticipated.
But I go back to. Paul Ince when he took the Blackburn job.
And he'll say now, wrong time, wasn't
probably the wrong
enough.
time. But if a Premier League club comes in for you, it's hard to say no.